Good evening.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the midweek fix on the LFC Daytrippers. What an intro that was.
Smooth
as usual. I'm your host, Keith. Tonight, I'm delighted to be joined by Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate.
We're having a power struggle, me and Chris. Chris keeps pressing buttons and I keep pressing buttons, and we don't know who's in charge yet. I'm in charge, by the way. Just remember that. I'm in charge. We haven't done one in a while, Chris. Have we even been on in a while together?
It's like Liverpool fans at FSG, mate. We're fighting over everything.
That's it. Yeah, this is it. What can we say? Matt, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Keith. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, pretty good as well. You know, no complaints.
Last time I saw you, you were pretty stressed out.
What was wrong?
Well, we had just fucking shat the bed against Manchester United. So
yeah, but we were having a point, so you know everything's good. You know, all's fair and friendly when you're doing it over a Guinness. But look, we won't talk about that Man United game if we don't have to. And Laura, delighted to be joined by Laura for the first time. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Well,
I'm excellent.
Besides moving back and forth between the top spots.
Well, this is what happens. It's a power struggle. What can we say? Yeah, tonight we're going to look forward to the opening game of the Champions League for Liverpool away to Napoli. A familiar foe, it must be said. We've played them what feels like nearly every couple of years.
Every season, it feels like.
Every year. Yeah, it just seems that way, doesn't it? And it's a game that it's never an easy one. Chris, we'll start with you. It's never an easy game at Napoli, is it?
No, it's horrible. I think the last time we won there, we had Roy Hodgson as manager, which is a horrendous thought to think of. But that was the last time. I don't think Klopp's ever beaten Napoli. I think that's what you're saying. His press conference, he's never beaten Napoli in 2 or 3 attempts. So I was like,
bet them in a friendly. I was at the Aviva Stadium. We bet them 5-0. Great day. Thought they were easy. Then they slaughtered us. So
then they also beat us 3-0 a friend the following year. We're like, oh, for fuck's sake, these are yeah. But I think last time we played Napoli in the group stage was after when we got beat by Madrid and Kiev. Then we played Napoli in the group stage next year and went on and won it. So you know,
So
ever hope there's a positive spin to look for it. But we need to get something from the game because I'll be honest, our away record so far, it's not been the best. As we've looked pretty shaky in our 3 away games at the moment, which is not ideal. And the side's going to be interesting because I don't think he's got a lot of rotation options really. You know, Curtis Jones is out. Looks like he's had a reoccurrence of his stress fracture. Carvalho's touch and go for the weekend. You know, Arthur's still getting his fitness back, and Thiago, he's fit, but you know, would you really throw him in after 2 days training with his record?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. But look forward to it. I think they've got a couple of injury doubts with a couple of their main guys, but I don't know how much of that is just a bit of mind games. You never know. But it's a different appetite to what we usually play. I think they've got rid of a few of their established names, your Koulibalis of the world, yeah, people like that. So I think it is more of a bit of a younger side now, isn't it, Matt? I think.
yeah, some of the names have definitely changed from our previous visits to them, and I mean they're currently doing quite well in Serie A. You know, sitting near the top of the table, scoring at least a couple of goals every game on average. So, you know, don't watch a ton of Italian football, so it's not like I can say that I'm up on, you know, some of the new players that were there, but Koulibaly being gone can only help us. I mean, he was a class defender when he played against us every single time we came up against him. So, you know, I'm not upset of seeing the backside of Kalidou Koulibaly, and hopefully that opens up something for Mo to find his mojo and get back into the groove.
And no Milik now for Alisson to make last minute saves on, which is thank fuck for that. I'm not sure my heart I'd take that. Cool. Oh, you're back, Keith?
I'm back, yeah.
That wasn't me sending him off in case anyone asked. That's not the power struggle.
It's just a coincidence that, you know, after I gave out to you about power struggle, I disappeared off the thing. Yeah, that's
nothing to do with me.
Laura, Napoli, you know, it's always a hard game, but it's going to be a different Napoli that we come up against this time, isn't it? You know, it's a different Luciano Spalletti's in charge now. It's not Ancelotti. It's as the lads touched on there. There's no Milik, there's no Koulibaly, but there is going to be a lot of threats coming from the Napoli team that we have to be wary of. Is there anyone that stands out for you?
Well, Carvatella, the Georgian who just came in this.
Glad you said that. Glad you said that.
That's how they pronounce it. I'm not sure if just the Italians are pronouncing it correctly, but that's how they pronounce it. But he's the new he's a direct Insigne replacement. So what Napoli did in summer was very interesting. It's 9 in, 9 out.
Yeah.
And it was almost direct 1-to-1. Like they got Kim Min-jae, not the actor rapper, but he's the direct Koulibaly replacement. And he's younger. He's probably more fit than Koulibaly, at the very end of his Napoli career. So he's scored twice, both off.
Yeah.
He's
looked good when I've seen him.
He's 6'3". They're actually a very big side as well.
Yeah.
They're tall, just across the board. And then who else is it? And Guisa from Fulham came in.
Yeah.
And then even all of their moves were very smart. They went younger, with their replacements a little bit quicker. The one that's Osimhen is the doubt for tomorrow. But Napoli is an interesting one because they play basically the exact same team every time, and they sub almost exactly at the exact same time for the exact same players. So, but if Osimhen's out, Diego Simeone's kid Giovanni is on loan, so he would be the obvious replacement for Osimhen if he's not in. But he looked like he does at like he was normally doing playing. At the end of the game, he gets tired. So, but they said he felt something. But I still think he'll start. He might get subbed earlier than he normally does. He usually only gets subbed right at the the last 5-6 minutes. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do there because I think if you're taking out Osimhen and putting in Simeone, it's changing. How they're going to play, isn't it? It's going to be more direct rather than the pace and speed that you're going to get out of Osimhen. So it'll be interesting. But you touched on say his name again there, Laura. Kvaratskhelia. There you go. You touched on him, right? And he will most probably play off the left, will he? He'll be the one that's directly up against Trent. And that's something, unfortunately, at the moment, I'm sort of on Trent's case a bit because, I think he's excellent. He's a great player. He's not as bad defensively as he gets made out to be, but we're getting punished down his side. So every time we play someone, I'm looking at who's on the left wing for them and can they do us damage? And this fella can do us damage. And we're going to have to really, really be tight on him. But they do have other threats, What are you laughing at, Chris?
Emmett's comment. It's about evening, Elizabeth and Claire. Bless him. We're on a Zoom call before with him, and obviously Matt and me, both our wives, obviously last on Zoom, so that's our new nicknames. Do you not think Trent's been all right defensively the last 2 games? The issue's been he can't pass a ball 2 yards.
I think it's both. I think his passing has been cat the last couple of games, but what are we talking here?
Because I thought against Newcastle he swept up well.
Newcastle was the one that tipped me over the edge, Chris, because there was a time when we were breaking, he lost the ball and they countered down his side and he stood with his hands on his hips. And I'm like, what is he doing? Do you know what I mean? And I'm like...
But it's like it's not like a lapse of concentration, like the runner behind him, which I thought he's got actually... The last 2 games got better at seeing the runner behind him, but it looked like he just can't pass the ball 2 yards, which is really annoying.
It's not really all on him, isn't it?
It's the part of the game you actually think you don't worry about, and actually that's been probably the biggest weakness at the moment is he can't pass. I'm not sure he starts tomorrow.
We'll come on to that. But Napoli, they're looking at their threats that they're going to have up front. If it's Osimhen or not. They also have Politano, and they have Herving Lozano. They've got good players to play in them sort of wide areas, and it's hard. Liverpool, I think, as a collective, haven't been great this season. Chris, I'll stay with you. As a collective, we haven't been great. It's easy to blame Trent, as I've just done. It's easy to blame Virgil. It's easy to blame Mo. All our big players, all our leaders are not doing it. Robbo hasn't been great. Fab hasn't been great. There's a group that aren't really doing it. They need to be better as a group tomorrow, don't they? They can't, Napoli will exploit them, whether it's, Laura touched on Zamba and Guise, whether it's Zielinski in the probably playing the sort of advanced midfield. There's going to be players that will exploit any gaps we give them. So we just have to be switched on as a team rather than individuals. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was lots of talk about the run stats for Liverpool and the way we're playing. I mean, you do tend to run less if you've got the ball. I think there's some less intense running, and I don't know if that's by design. I'm not buying this. It's Liverpool in decline. I think Liverpool are trying to tweak the way they're playing, and I think it's the teething problems you have with it, which is really frustrating. The biggest thing that the problem got tonight is just it's the transitional stuff, which is if we're going to commit 4 or 5 forward, you've got to be careful with the ball, and that's every time we're getting caught, like on the corners, it's sloppiness on transition, which used to be a thing Liverpool quite good at. I think Liverpool probably, especially Fabinho, need to go back to a little bit of the dark arts, which is do the City tactical fouls. Make sure if you don't get over the halfway line, take them out. People don't like hearing that. People say it's not very the way you should play football, but everyone does it. City are the masters of it, and City do it as a team. So that's why we don't get many bookings, because one person does it, the next time it's De Bruyne, the next time it's Rodri. Liverpool just need to do a little bit of that, be a little bit cuter. I quite liked how we started to switch to it more of a midfield too, and like the third midfield is really advanced, or even at times we almost do a 4-2-4. I think it gives someone to sit next to Fabinho. Now I don't think it's Elliott. I think Elliott did okay actually next to Fabinho, but that's not his game. To be fair to me, he did a good job there, but I don't think that's his game. His game's more advanced. So I think people's heads are going to fall off, because I think we all know the player's going to stand next to Fabinho is the one that's going to piss everyone off. But I think with people just come back from the injury, and I think there are certain players that can't keep playing 5-6 games in a row. I think you're going to see a robust midfield too, which people aren't going to like, but I do think that's going to give us a bit more protection the other way. Because as much as Milner had a nightmare, and he did have a nightmare at right back, he looked a bit more happy next to Fabinho in a 2. And I think that suits his game better. The Milner right back situation, it wasn't great against Everton, but it worked really well against Newcastle. So it's not like it's a horrific sub, because it literally worked the game before.
Very true. Very true. Matt, are you concerned about Liverpool's form going into this? Napoli are top of Serie A. I think they're unbeaten. Normally, Italian teams wouldn't bother me. The last year, I think the league isn't as strong as it maybe once was. Are you more concerned but because of Liverpool's form going into this, or do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? Is there any signs of an improvement coming from Liverpool?
First, I just got to jump back. There was a question earlier in the chat from Bonkers LFC. Kevin Lasagna, who is the best named footballer in the entire world, does not play for Napoli. He plays for Hellas Veronas, which is unfortunate, because Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa is also one of the best named footballers in the entire world. So I do see light at the end of the tunnel, though, Keith, because I honestly can't see how we can continue to play as poorly as we played in some of our games. It doesn't make sense. So, with the close of the transfer window, I really, had some time to think about where we are, and, some of the other fans' opinions, people that take a far different view to, how the team should be run in the transfer market as opposed to me and, the club as well. And our club, like our squad currently, is in a pretty precarious place. But our current squad, if you think about the players that we have moving forward in the long term, is a title-winning team of players. We know they are. We know we have the right players. And I think the word that, I don't know if it doesn't get used as much over on that side of the Atlantic as it does here in North America, but I think we're in the middle of a rebuild, and we might not even know it, of just looking at the prime first-generation Klopp team that won the Champions League and won the league, and you look at how many of those players, if they're not already out of the starting lineup, their obvious successor has already been lined up by the team. And we're going through, teething problems, say whatever it is that you will, of like trying Harvey in a 2-man pivot was, maybe it was worth a shot. Maybe he could pull it off, but it just didn't work. But that's what we're having to do now. We're having to learn on the fly. And I have faith and trust in the coaching staff and the players that we have of finding a tactic. I think it's going to be a switch away from our tried and tested 4-3-3, the same as Chris. I can really see us going through a 2-man midfield and just trying to get some more solidity in there, because we're being overran. I have faith in Klopp and Leinders and the rest of the coaching staff to be able to drill that out of these players. So I'm I'm not overly concerned, but I'm going to be blindly optimistic until my spirit is well and truly broken if we continue to play horribly.
Yeah. Paul Ere Oye says, do you guys ever interact with us lowly peasants in the chat box? Paul, we were all lowly peasants in the chat box at some stage, so we have a lot of sympathy. But when I'm hosting the shows, I tend to ignore the chat an awful lot because I'm concentrating on the actual chat we're having. So I'm not Gav. Gav is much more, and Chris as well, much more sharp with the old throwing up the comments and all. I'll do it occasionally, but I do tend to miss it all. But believe me, we do not look down on you guys in the chat. Well, some of us don't. And
That's not what you said off there.
we are watching, and we are taking note. But
We look down on some of you in the chat, not all of you. On a case by case.
Oh, there's a grenade thrown, isn't there?
But no, we do. That's more my bad habit, to be honest. That I don't throw a lot of comments up, but we are looking at it, and I will throw things occasionally as they come. So just wanted to throw that up there. But Kev threw in a comment, and Laura, it'll come to you. Signs of improvement are the volume of chances we're still creating, the amount of corners we're getting. That will result in goals. Do you see that? Do you think it's just the goals that we've usually been getting haven't been coming, that we're creating enough, but we're just not getting the goals at the moment? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and that kind of goes with what Matt said as well, of the teething process. It's like, but like Kev said, the good thing is the chances are there. It's finishing them, and it happens. Sometimes you just can't hit the broadside of a barn. And then sometimes like stuff that shouldn't go in is going in all the time, and it happens. And it's unfortunate that we're not clicking, and everyone's not clicking. And so it's not just like, oh, Mo is off. It's like all of them are somehow off, but it's all kind of interconnected, and it compounds the problem. But you can definitely see the teething problems, but the positive is we are getting chances. It's not like we're just getting attacked and not being able to do anything. It's unfortunate, but it's painful for people to say, but it's going to take some time.
I think it came out yesterday that the highest chance creator in the league is Mo Salah this season. And but if you sometimes think, well, it doesn't feel like that, but apparently it is. So sometimes maybe things aren't as bad as you think. They're probably never. It always tends to be the way. Things are never as bad as you think they are, and they're probably never as great as you think they are. There's always sort of a nice middle point. So, well, I don't think Liverpool are great. I don't think it's all a doom and gloom as it feels. We're just not. To be honest, we're just not used to having such a shit start to a season.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of knocked a lot of fans. And I don't like to dig out fans, for being spoiled brats or babies or anything like that, because, we have been spoiled a bit. We're so used to winning games. We're so used to, a couple of draws being the end of the world, and we've been programmed a bit that way. And that's down to the success that we've had. So I sort of do understand why fans lose their shit. I don't agree with it, but I can see where they're coming from. But Laura, I want to stay with you as well, because there's another comment came in there from Archie, and he's saying about Diogo Jota, where I can find it, that he feels that sorry for repeating myself, but Jota is going to be our saviour, please. Do you feel that the returning players are going to give us that little bit of impetus, and that we've just got where we are because of who we've had so far? Can you see change with these guys coming back, with Jota, with Thiago, with Arthur coming in possibly? Like, can you see that having an impact?
I think savior might be but it doesn't hurt. It can only help, right? Because one, it's not just his quality as a player, but it's also, there's X number of spots, and we have more people than X number of spots. And I would throw Bobby as well in that as category as well. Like, you have more, it can only be good when you have more people competing for the same spots. And also on the flip side of, some of the things I think happening in midfield are, we don't have a lot of options. Players get overplayed, they get tired, and then they start getting injured. So being able to rotate in any area of the pitch is good, because to have some, even if Diogo comes off the bench, it's like, holy crap, we're taking off say Darwin, and we're putting, and it's like most people would be like, oh, thank God he's off. But now you get to deal with Diogo coming on.
Yeah.
It's, just having the bench be stronger is nothing but a good thing.
Exactly. Chris, I'm going mad on comments now. Sam Tandy is saying if Hendo's shot at the end of the Fulham game goes in, if Salah's shot versus the Ev goes in, we have 4 more points. We may not be great right now, but it is fine margins. And I suppose that's very true. We do maybe see the glass half empty rather than the glass half full, and that's a natural reaction. But, we haven't played great, and it's been bits of luck really that have maybe not gone our way so far that have us where we are. But at the end of the day, we're not even that far off. So
no,
I mean,
I think after the derby, I think I'd said, like, you forget title talk if you got we need to get a run going, and then realised we're only 6 points off top. I went, oh shit, it's actually closer than I thought.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, I thought City would absolutely jump all over Villa, which was a bit of a surprise. I mean, we can say that, if those shots go in, but they didn't. And I'll be honest, we didn't deserve anything more than a draw out of Fulham. We were piss poor. And ultimately, you make your own luck. And people didn't worry about that because they were making enough chances. We just haven't been clinical. We can go, if this shot goes in, that shot goes in. If Bobby, with an open goal, with a header, heads anywhere but at Pickford, you win the game 1-0, but we don't. It's that lack of clinical edge we've been missing. But that's in both boxes. Because I've been more critical of Virgil than I have of Trent, because I just think he's been doing things that he doesn't normally do. The Man United goal is a classic example. He would charge the ball down, not stand there like a statue with his hand behind the back looking like Albi Moreno. That's how bad that defender was. It was like watching Moreno, which I never thought I'd say with Virgil van Dijk. And look, all players go through dips. It happens, but he has been, by his standards, pretty poor, so they need to, at some point, start finding a way of turning it around, just have a bit of cohesion, a bit of an ugly win. The best thing that could happen to Liverpool tomorrow is either an ugly 1-0 or a hard-fought 1-1, just to basically show so you've got a bit of bollocks about you and you can actually grind the results out. I think that would do wonders than smashing aside 5-0, because I don't think we learned anything. We smashed Bournemouth 9-0. And it was great. We all enjoyed it, but we didn't learn anything from it, because everything went for us, and that helps. I actually think a really tight result will do us the world of good.
I would rather smash them 9-0 than a hard fought 1-1. No,
no disrespect. I think mentally for the team, they need to be proven that they can win a tight game or hold on in a tight game, which at the moment we haven't been able to. We haven't done too much of that. I think Newcastle's the only one. We
never have the fucking lead. Can't hold on to the lead. We always go behind.
That's what we need to do.
There's a comment from Sask Copoy saying VVD is the new Albi Moreno, Chris Brack. So there you go.
Context
we do look at the chat. The lowly peasants in the chat. Isn't that right, man?
This is why we don't look at the chat. I'm joking. This is why I'm not on Friday nights anymore.
Yeah. No, but Matt, something Chris did touch on there is the fact that I started tongue-in-cheek joking saying I would rather smash them, but Napoli, it is going to be a tough game and a hard fought 1-1 over there. Probably not the worst thing in the world, but you think it's enough for Liverpool at the moment. Under other circumstances, I'd say maybe I could agree, but you think a 1-1 draw would be enough, whether it's hard fought, glorious 1-1 or otherwise, or do you think they have to really go out and win? Or is that not important? Just get this toy out of the way.
Depends on the context you're talking about. In the context of our current form and the trajectory that the team is on, I don't think a 1-1 is acceptable. In the context of getting out of our Champions League group, take it all day. That's our toughest fixture in the group is Napoli away. Yeah. They're probably the best team in the group. We have a bad record there. They're flying at the moment. If we get a 1-1 draw out of there, I'm fine with that. But in the context of our season and needing to, get our asses in gear and hit the ground running, it really feels like we need an early goal and then to just suffocate the game. We need to actually be able to control the game and not be, and to me, it comes down to we're just giving the ball away too much. Too many of our passes that we're trying to make, whether they be regular side-to-side passes, going backwards and recycling the ball passes, or Hollywood crossfield ball passes. Like you talk about, slaughtering Trent for his defending, and I get that, and I'm okay with it. if he's producing going offensively the way that we know that he can, he can be the weak link in our defense. I'm totally fine with that. That's a great trade-off. It's like having somebody like, Mbappe on your team where that's like, they're not going to help with the press. Like, yeah, but they're almost good enough that we'll work around that. We need to get him in our team. And putting a lot more of the emphasis on Virgil's defending and like the decline that we've seen in him so far this season, to me, it's been his passing that's been really strangely poor, where he's not seeming to hit that ball up to Mo on the right wing with the same velocity that he has in the past. And it's just getting hung up in the air, and the left backs are just eating them alive. That he tries to make that big switch going forward to Mo out onto the right wing, and it doesn't matter who the left back is. Like, I imagine when we play Brighton, it'll be Tarek Lamptey, and he's going to win 6 out of 8 aerial duels against Mo on crossfield balls, probably. But if we can just lock that in.
Tarek Lamptey is a right back, and he's about 5'2".
Close enough, but he's tiny. Yeah, he's absolutely tiny. Wrong side of the field. They got enough fullbacks at Brighton.
Don't mock Brighton. Brighton had me little sleeper team this year. I like Brighton.
They were a little sleeper team for the last 3 years.
Team Caicedo. Team Caicedo.
100%.
But if we see the snappy passing that we saw in the Bournemouth game, granted they made it easy for us, but the way that we were exchanging the ball and not turning it over and being our own worst enemies and giving them odd man rushes, the number of times in games this year where you're like, holy shit, they've got 5 running against 3. Like, where is our midfield? Where is anybody to come back and help out with the attack? And that all just comes down from just sloppy passing from us.
Yeah, pretty much so. Kev says, that's where I wonder if Trent is carrying a knock and we're managing him through it. Chris, do you think there could be anything in that?
It could be, because I think Henderson was doing the same. I think Klopp did mention he felt a bit of tightness in his calf, but he might be a little bit, but I don't think that stops him from being able to pass. Also, if you know you've got a tightness in your calf and you can't spray it like he normally does, you can still do clever. You can still do short, intelligent passing. So it doesn't excuse just misplacing passing because I'm feeling something. So, and again, I do slightly disagree with Matt when he says, like, if he's that good, we can excuse him a little bit. You can to a point, but ultimately, if you're going to win stuff, you all run your bollocks off. And outside of a Farmers League like France, every big player has to run the bollocks off, to win something. Kevin De Bruyne runs his bollocks off, and he could get away with saying, I don't run because I can do everything else. But he doesn't. He does everything. And Liverpool at their best, everyone does it. Mo Salah, as much as he took a lot of stick last night, for one of their breakaways, the person on the goal line trying to clear it was Mo Salah. He ran the full length of the pitch. So for a while, he's not doing great attacking wise. Don't kid yourself. He at least is putting the shift in, which is where I will give players a bit of the minimum they'll do is put a shift in. So I get what you're saying, Matt. Yes, if he's not defense is not his strong point, but he's still got to do the hard yards, and I don't think he's doing enough of the hard yards, which is what Keith's frustration is he looks like he's got his hands on his hips, and I don't need to run back, and I think that really pisses people off because you should.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Manchester United game was one that was evident on the goal, Sancho's goal, I think it was, when he just sauntered. And United were cutting us down that side, and I think unfortunately, when you're a defender, and especially when you're Trent, who gets so much, he's under the microscope so much for his defending, that he's not allowed to have a lapse. And I think that's what kills him, whereas other defenders do not get the scrutiny that Trent gets. Every little small detail gets magnified 1,000 times.
Some of the other right backs who are very hailed over Trent defensively, when you watch them, a lot of them actually play as a back 3 and they play as a wing back. So they're not exposed as much. It's easier when you got a back 3 because you don't get exposed as much. And one of them plays at Chelsea, and I think he's really good. Yeah. But Chelsea defensively are an absolute car crash this season. Yeah. They were shite again tonight defensively. It took, if it wasn't for a Kepa really good performance, they easily conceded another 2. So, but that kind of gets glossed over, because it's a choice. Bashing Trent's defending is like bashing Henderson. There's just certain things. It's just like it's just a thing everyone does, And then when you ask the question why there's never any halftime, there's never context behind it. There will be some, but it's the easy thing to do, isn't it? Because it just drives clicks, gets people excited.
That's it, and that's the name of the game we're into these days, isn't it? Clicks. Emma Kavanagh was just short of ripping the TV off the wall and Ryan's at the United again. I was very restrained. But that's the reason why I don't like doing watch-alongs and all, because sometimes you can lose the run of yourself, and
yeah,
it can
easily done,
go
isn't it?
awry. It can go awry. Laura, we're going over to Napoli tomorrow, and you know there's warnings going out to fans about traveling to Naples and things like that. Is it too much, or do you think it's the right thing? Is a reputation going to Italy is a tough place to go, and Naples is a tough place to go? Can you see that seeping into the intimidating atmosphere, seeping into the team at all, or you know, am I doing the mentality monsters down too much? Do you think they'd be okay?
I think they'll be okay in terms of, you know, the crowd, because it's also, you have to remember the crowd's set back from, they're not you know, they're not right on top, so it's, you know, a little bit disconnected, but it's still gonna get loud. I think also in terms of the club issuing you know, not warnings, travel advisories, you know, if they didn't and something happened, then it would be, they'd get ripped one side up and down the other. And it's also just, you know, be smart. But I don't think the crowd is, I mean, I think it's better than not playing with a crowd, for sure. I think that's where we really, really suffer, whether they're against us or for us. I think we do better with the crowd. In terms of like tomorrow, it's interesting because when you watch Napoli, at least this season, where teams have had a lot of success is when they go down the flanks and they start attacking. Specifically, they tend to target Mario Rui. And like they've had, you know, even when they beat teams, you know, that the newly promoted teams or the teams that just stayed up last year, and the other team didn't score, they've had success getting the ball in by going around him, even to some degree against Di Lorenzo. So that probably can only help us and give maybe some of the people who've been struggling maybe a confidence boost if they start getting some success by just running down the flanks.
That wasn't me. My hands are up here. It wasn't me. Look, no hands. Look, see, it wasn't me. I didn't make Keith disappear. It wasn't me.
That you again, was it?
Do you IP vanish then, mate?
Yeah, have IP vanish. Might be sending in a letter of complaint. No, only joking. I don't know. The internet's just playing up here tonight for some reason. Sorry, Laurie, you were saying there, Mario Rui.
He's the one that tends to get targeted, just like Trent tends to get targeted all the time. Occasionally, Di Lorenzo on the other side gets targeted, but you know, teams have had a lot of success just going at Mario Rui and then actually just going around him and then crossing the ball in. And then Napoli is kind of an interesting setup because if you looked at on paper, they're technically set up as a 4-3-3, but when they play, that's how they play defensively, 4-3-3. But when they attack, they're 4-2-3-1. Or defense, flip that. Sorry. And so they're actually very smooth and getting probably a lot smoother than I think a lot of people thought. Me specifically thought that they would do, especially with, you know, they have 3 new players who are starters in that team, and so at this point, with kind of the smoothness of how they switch in and out of their formation is very good. But teams have had success, like I said, going down the flanks, because I'll say Carvatella is very, very good, but he's not the best defensive help in the world. So, and he's also on that side. So you can that's why teams have been attacking that side and having success down there.
Yeah, indeed. It's a very good point. You know, they're a team that can be got at, Matt, aren't they? And I suppose it depends what Liverpool show up. No, do you know what? We'll hold that for a second because people are giving me stick about IP Vanish. Anyone that's looking for a VPN, I'd highly recommend IP Vanish because, you know, you never, not that if you're into the dirty stuff and you're looking to hide your history and things like that, you know, a VPN can sort that out. IP Vanish will do all that for you, but you get 70% off. So I signed up to it. I actually got IP Vanish and it's working very well for me. All the details and all will be in the show description. I'm doing this off the cuff because I forgot I had to do it. So I'm speaking as a consumer. a loyal IP Vanish consumer, and I rate it very highly. You know, for the price of it, really worth getting.
Yeah, but Keith, you can only use it on one device, I imagine, right?
No, multiple devices, multiple
Really?
devices.
My
Yeah,
laptop?
you install it on your
Tablet?
laptop, your tablet, your phone, your Fire
Not my
Stick.
Fire. What?
Your Fire Stick,
Wow.
Stick can get it as well, and you know, multiple Fire Sticks.
Does it limit your speed though, Keith?
What?
Yeah.
Does it limit your speed though?
No,
that's all right.
It increases your speed. It increases your speed. It's not increasing my speed tonight because I keep losing, but that is only. I think it's the weather that's knocking my internet out, and I don't think IP Vanish have sorted out the weather yet. But what's it? Kev is there. 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Can't be going wrong. And in fact, that must be going up soon because I sent in a very, very good testimonial to the CEO himself. And I think that should realistically be up at about 4.8 or 4.9 out of 5 now. So it's really good. Get on it.
Something like this must cost hundreds of dollars a month.
Do you know what? It doesn't. It costs something like €38 for the year. $37 or something like that. I mean,
that's not just a price for anybody though. That's got to just be a price for LFC Daytripper listeners,
especially for LFC Daytrippers listeners. So when you're signing up, they ask you, "Are you an LFC Daytripper?" Yes, boom, special price.
I love how the chat now is Pat better than you, Keith.
I know, yeah.
We should just put the comments up. We wouldn't have to do the spiel.
I'm a consumer. I'm speaking from the feet on the ground here, so I'm the man to listen to, not Gav, and is written down little, you know, actor special. This is the people that matter talking about it. This is the consumer talking about it. But anyway,
you'll be getting Paramount Plus next, mate, with your IP Vanish.
It's funny you mentioned that. Paramount Plus. Get on and subscribe to that. I've shown all Champions League games this year. That's all I know about it. Chris, do you know any more about Paramount Plus?
Is it about $7 a month, Matt?
Yeah, it's surprisingly cheap, and I mean, it has every minute of the games. Like, it doesn't even drop out at the 30-minute mark and show commercials. It shows you the full game, start to finish, all the build-up, and it's all available. I'm not entirely sure what regions this is in, because I know in Canada we don't have access to Paramount Plus, but it's €7.99 a month. That's a pretty good price to be able to watch all of the Champions League. Now, I don't know if that also includes the Women's Champions League, but definitely the Men's Champions League.
That'll just be Barcelona. That'll just be Barcelona win the women's one again because they're ridiculously good.
They are.
They could learn a few things from the women. Anything else you want to cover?
Well, while we're here, we'll talk about Bobby's wish to walk. So that's flying along. Does anyone know where we're at with that at the moment? So little Bobby, for people who don't know, looking to raise 150,000 to get to America to get treatment for diaplegia cerebral palsy, the same thing that Sienna had. And for anyone that follows the show and knows Sienna's story, if you look on social media at Sienna, you'll see she's starting school, she's walking into school. It's brilliant to see. And to know that we played a small part in that, and by we, I mean, you know, the listeners, the chat, everybody connected to the LFC Daytrippers, it gives you a little sense of pride, more so than anything else. And we're hoping to do the same for Bobby as well, because Emmett says there 132k that Bobby is at. So, you know, it's getting there. You know, it's less than 18k to go. It's really brilliant, and it's just to get into America. And as we all know, you get to America, the treatment is done, but there's a lot of aftercare needed and a lot of stuff for the family that's included. They have to go over and spend a lot of time over there. So, you know, anybody that can help. Times are tough. We know that there's a cost of living crisis, there's an energy crisis, there's every crisis you can think of. If you can spread the word, if you can donate, anything you can do to help, I'd say get on and do it, because it's a really worthwhile cause. And it's something that we're passionate about on this channel, is helping people, you know, that maybe don't have the voice. And the fact that we have a platform to share this, I think it's good that we use it to do it. So we'll always push that sort of thing. But go on, it's all in the show description. And anything you can do, even sharing it within WhatsApp groups, might hit someone that touches a nerve with, and they'll be able to help out. So any help is greatly appreciated on that. Back to the football now. I am terrible at reading out all this. Well, I don't even read out all this stuff. Literally just made it all up as I was going along.
You've still got one. You've still got one to go. So wait for your other one.
What? Jesus Christ! What I forgot? What did I forget?
You've got your better help one, mate. Everyone needs a bit of help, don't you?
Oh, better help. Yeah, right.
Don't
Better
help me with that one.
Help me with that one.
Basically, BetterHelp is an online therapy, so they can give you online therapy, whether that is via video, via phone, or live chat only. So you don't have to do it on camera if you don't feel comfortable. You can basically, it's a lot more affordable than that. You can get in touch with a therapist within less than 48 hours. And for you guys, they give you 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/daytrippers.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And look, people's health, mental health, it's a huge thing. And you know, people sometimes don't want to commit to going to see someone, and this is an alternative option. So yeah, very good, brilliant. Back to the football chat. Laura, well, who was I talking to actually? Who was last on? Matt. We'll go with Matt.
Sure.
Why not? Why not? Looking ahead at the game tomorrow, right? So give us your predicted lineup for Liverpool for tomorrow.
Okay, this is one of the tougher ones that when I sat down to think about a lineup, I've done a lot of scratching out. I got Alisson in goal, back four of Trent, Gomez, Matip, and Robertson. A two-man midfield of Fabinho and Milner, Mo, Bobby, and Diaz, and Nunez leading the line. 4-2-3-1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Laura, what about yourself?
Similar. This one's a little bit harder, but I actually would play Gomez instead of Matip. But just in with Osimhen, I would guess there's probably an 85 to 90% probability that he's going to start, and just the physicality. Gomez is probably a little better than Matip. This would have been.
I had Gomez and Matip both in. So who do you have playing alongside?
We'll have Virgil. Sorry, but I need to work on my listening skills.
No, that's okay. You just presume that VVD's in the team always, but I think he could use a spell on the sidelines.
I don't disagree. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I think not until Konate's back.
Yeah, and this is actually one where Konate would have been perfect because it's like he would match up just really, really well. And then I don't disagree on the midfield either. As much as that's going to piss people off.
Yeah, but it's my team. Yeah, that's really going to piss people off.
So yeah, other than the back, I agree with Matt.
Good stuff. And Chris?
So I've got Ali in goal. I've got a back four of Gomez, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, and Milner as a 2. And then I have got Diaz on the right, Firmino in the 10, Jota on the left, Nunes through the middle. Because I think Elliott, Salah, and Trent need some time out. Elliott, not because he's played bad. I just think he's a young lad, so you don't want to burn him out. So I think this might be one to put him out for. I think you need a bit of a couple of experienced heads for it. Salah has been a bit quiet by his own standards, and Trent, if he's felt a niggle after the Everton game, I would probably say give him a rest at this. And Gomez can do one game at right back. It's hard to move him out of there because he's done really well at centre back, but we haven't got Ramsey at the moment, so I would do that. And I think Matip's height would be handy again if the main striker is playing.
Yeah, I sort of I think Gomez to right back, Robbo to left back, Matip and Virgil in centre back. I agree with Laura. Konate would have been perfect in this one, but he's not there. Fabinho in the midfield. I think it will be Milner. I don't think Thiago will be rushed in, and I don't think Arthur will be rushed into a team either until he's up to some sort of speed with the expectation and
the way Klopp was talking, Thiago sounds closer to a start than Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. I think we will go to I agree. I think we'll go with the 4-2-3-1 as well, and I think we will see Bobby. I think we'd see Diaz because I agree with what Laura said about Mario Rui, I think he can be got at. I think he's a player that you can get to, and I think let's see, was he on the right or the left?
He's on the left.
He's on the left. Yeah, so
Di Lorenzo plays the right.
Salah, Di Lorenzo. But then I got that mixed up. So then I would probably rest Diaz for this one because I think he could do with a rest. So I'd have put Jota because I thought Mario Rui was getting picked at, but I forgot he's a left full. Jota on the left, Bobby in the 10, Mo on the right, and Darwin up front. So that's the 4 I'd go with. I just think players do need rests at the moment. And, I think Trent needs a rest. I think Diaz could do with a rest. And Harvey, I agree with. So I don't know if any of us were close with those teams.
I wouldn't be surprised if they already have when Thiago's coming on.
Yeah.
Subbed already.
If they're bringing him and including him, well then, yeah, I'd say you will see him. But does anyone think Arthur gets a run in this?
Well, I thought he might, because I thought he's had a week's training, but the way Klopp spoke in the press conference doesn't sound like he's ready yet. Because I thought he'd be all right because the league is used to it, to pace he's used to, so there'll be less risk there. But by the sounds of it, he didn't have a pre-season either, so possibly needs a couple of weeks just to get himself up to speed. Maybe Ajax is where he starts.
Kev can see him getting anymore.
Plays, the only way I see him playing would be like the last 5 minutes. If we're ahead, maybe 2-0.
Yeah. Last 10, 15 minutes, it feels like a perfect opportunity. Like if he's ready to play, especially if the game, if we're up 2-0 and we're actually playing, confidently and comfortably, that's a perfect opportunity to bring him on and just give him a couple of minutes. Maybe, switch back to the 4-3-3, go less attacking, put another midfielder in, take one of the attackers off, give Mo the last 15, 20 minutes off would be nice.
Yeah, it would, and that's the thing we haven't really been able to do. We've seen it against Bournemouth, and we were able to bring in Bobby Clark, we were able to bring in Bajcetic, and when you're not getting ahead in games, you can't do. I'm not talking about even bringing on these young lads, but you're not able to use your bench as much as you'd want, and the knock-on effect is just killing us. So I want to get score predictions off you all now. Chris, I'll start with you.
As much as I'd love a Liverpool win, my feel is going to be a 1-1.
You're going for that hard-fought 1-1 win.
I think it's going to be. I think Nunes. Listen, I'll quite happily be wrong if Liverpool win. I'll be made up, but I'll go for a 1-1. Nunes to score. I'll be honest. If you get a 1-1 in your first game and it's the away one, I don't think that's really too big an issue. I think it's the best way to start, other than away. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right, and it was said earlier. It's the toughest game in the group, so 1-1 isn't bad. It's just maybe the context of our current form. It'll be seen as a defeat, and it's the short-sightedness, isn't it? But you think a 1-1 is probably a decent result to get.
Yeah, don't get beat. Don't get beat is the key thing. I'd love a 2-0 win, but I'll take a 1-1 if that's what's on offer.
Laura, what about yourself?
I unfortunately have to agree with Bracky of 1-1.
You never want to do that.
The way we're playing, the way they're playing, and we're away, and it just kind of has, and then just the mental block we have sometimes when we go to places where we don't win, typically. It has kind of 1-1 all written all over it, and I can definitely see theirs either coming from a set piece or it's just going to be Carvatella going right around Trent and one-on-one with Ali.
Yeah, so a familiar sight this season, like so many chances already. Matt, what about you? Don't go for 1-1. Are you going to go for 1-1? I'm not going for
fucking 1-1. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not.
I know right now.
He's going for 2-2.
I'm normally a 4-5-0 type of guy, but our form's been poor, so I'm going to go with 2-0 to Liverpool. Nunes and Jota to score off the bench, and I think the big take from it, because I'm sticking with my team of no Virgil in it, I think we're going to look good defensively, and it's going to cause all sorts of panties to be put into all sorts of bunches.
Someone clip that. Go on, everyone clip me. Clip that one. I'm getting stick off the chat now for not putting comments up. Keith's in charge. It's not my fault.
I put loads of comments up.
People they want their scores.
I like there's a good comment there from Manuel Federico Cachaza San Juan, who says, "We are Liverpool, Napoli 1, Liverpool 3." Positive.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a few
others.
Positive.
Yeah, let's see some of the others. Let's go through some of these. Right. So Sam Tandy, Liverpool to win 2-0. Second goal will be a late counter-attack. And you know, I'm going more comfortable than that. We've Paul 94 going for a 2-1 to Liverpool. Red Steve will take a 0-0, but 3 points will be cracking. Kev is going for 3-1. Think side very much built for Europe. I think he could be onto something there. The break from Premier League football might do them good. Archie thinks it'll be 2-0. Salah and Jota. Manuel's going for 3-1 to Liverpool. Laszlo is going for a cracking 0-0. Not another one. Bonkers is going for 2. Bobby and Diaz. I like that prediction.
What's your prediction, Keith?
I'll tell you in a minute. Sam Tandy gives me Atletico. This gives me Atletico vibes last season, and we won that 3-2. So there you go. My prediction is Liverpool 3-1. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I know. That's if we were better, I'd be going 5-0, but we're not. So 3-1.
Did you actually predict 9-0 for the Bournemouth game? The one time when your mad predictions now come off.
No. I predicted 5-0 for the Manchester United game, and Sean, you predicted 13. So the prediction game went out the window after that. But no, I think Liverpool. I think it might be a welcome, not distraction, but a change of scenery that might do them good. And if they can just get out and get a few more bodies in there playing, get a few more guys back into the squad. Like I said, I think Jota is a key player. I think he'll give us that bit more, not that more getting, but the option of having him there, whether he starts or whether he comes on. I think will be huge. I think we'll win 3-1. I think Diaz will come on and score. I would rest him for this personally, but I think he can come on and score. I think Jota will score, and I think Salah will score. I do think they will score because they do have a lot of threat, and they're a good team. They're playing with confidence. We're not playing with confidence. They're at home, and I'm still going for the 3-1 win for us. But, you know, if I ever go for a 2-1, you can take that as a I think Liverpool will be beaten. But 3-1, it'll be a tight and scrappy affair. So that's what I think it's going to be. But look, it's the Champions League, and can happen in that. And as we know, Liverpool have a great history and track record in there, so it'll be interesting. A quick one: how do you see the other game in the group going? Rangers and Ajax. Do you see any shocks in that, or what? What did you see that one going, Chris?
Is it at Rangers?
I don't know.
If it's at Rangers, they might actually get a draw out of it. But I don't know. I just don't think that Rangers squad's deep enough. So
no, it's in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
I'll go 2-0 Ajax now for 10 Amsterdam. Their record at home is really good, despite the fact they've just sold £200 million worth of people to Man United.
Yeah, and about 100 million's worth to Bayern Munich as well.
Yeah, and they've probably got 3 lads to come in who probably cost like £10 million who are just as good, because that's kind of that's just what Ajax do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So it's in Ajax. Laura, what about you?
I think either Rangers had a really bad weekend, and Ajax is flying in their league, but so I'd say 3-0 Ajax.
Very good, Matt.
Give me a 2-2.
Nice
2-2. Just to throw the cat amongst the pigeons in the group, just to mix it up a little bit. Just the presumed hierarchy can take its order, and we can go top, take the 3 points, and the other teams can, kill themselves with draws, and we can just keep piling up the wins and get out of the group and focus on Champions League come the turn of the calendar year, because that's when it matters. So
yeah, indeed. Do you see this as a tricky group, Laura? Do you see this as a tricky group for Liverpool, or
good and far are two different things? It shouldn't be. It should be pretty straightforward, but I also don't think that I didn't expect we would be in the situation we're in right now, but I think we're getting people back at the right time. Now that we're playing, multiple times a week, I think it's much better. That we're getting players back is better anyway, but I think, we get this out of the way, this game out of the way, I think we can be fairly happy in this group. So just
happy enough with that. No problems there. Chris, what do you think?
I think if we'd not started the way we had, I think we'd be a bit more relaxed. But realistically, look at the form. We should be looking at having a minimum of probably 8 points by game week 4. So Liverpool should be, with their European record in recent years, be looking by game 4 or 5 to be qualified. And if they're not, something's gone drastically wrong.
Indeed. What about you, Matt?
If you would have shown me this group after the Community Shield, I would have thought we'd waltz to another easy 6 wins out of 6, top the group, give lots of kids a run out at the San Siro sort of situation over again. Now, it just depends. I mean, the Champions League is different, and Liverpool is one of the clubs that reacts differently in the Champions League. European pedigree, I don't exactly know how it is or how you get. I mean, winning Champions Leagues helps. But certain teams have it and certain teams don't. City doesn't yet. Spurs don't. Arsenal don't. We have it. Real Madrid has it. Bayern Munich has it. Barcelona has it. And I think we're gonna see a reaction. I think as Kevin Sullivan said earlier in the chat that we're a team built for Europe, and that's just totally okay by me because there's nothing quite like a good Champions League run. And these teams don't scare me. We should expect to get out of the group easily. So.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the start of the season we've had is probably tainting how we think it'll go. It should be a fairly routine group. The Glasgow Rangers, or whatever they're called these days, Rangers, the Battle of Britain thing will be played up, I think, as maybe a bit more than it should be. But I don't think they're a great team. I think we should be able to beat them. They've done well in Europe recently. Ajax, big churn of players there. But it's a conveyor belt. Someone said it earlier on, they'll sell 10 and they'll bring in another 10, and that's the way they are. They're not going to be too concerned.
Look forward to seeing Ajax with a crowd because obviously the only time we played Ajax in Champions League was the COVID season. It was a bit of you kind of wanted to see what that sort of scene of a crowd because you don't play Ajax very often, to be fair. So
yeah,
I'm look forward more to the Ajax game, to be honest.
Yeah, the Ajax one will be interesting, and then Napoli are just a pig. If we can get out of there with a result, I think that'll be nice. But that's the one I see maybe being if there is a banana skin, it's that. I was going to say the San Pauli, but it's the Diego Maradona Stadium or something these days, isn't it? So so look, we'll leave it at that. 11 o'clock. We won't keep it too late. Thanks for joining us tonight, Chris. Pleasure as always. Even though you were messing with the comments and messing with the internet.
You're welcome, mate. I'll do it again next time we're on.
Of course you will. Laura, pleasure having you on. We'll do it again soon, no doubt. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And Matt, that's all. No, Matt, I'm only messing. Always a pleasure. Next time you're in Dublin, we'll have another point together. But I just hope there's no Liverpool game on because you are a Jonah. And we will
go somewhere with no internet connection. You go to the beach again or wherever that place was you mentioned, and you have no connection. We win 9-0 when you do that. So
it was a water fun park for the children, but however. You're dead right. Now look, we leave it at that. Look forward to tomorrow, the Champions League. It's always big for Liverpool. We know that Liverpool and the Champions League go together like, I don't know, two things that go together. And
anger and Twitter.
Yeah, anger and Twitter. There you go. Liverpool in the Champions League, like anger and Twitter. I like that. So we leave it at that. We've been the LFC Daytrippers, and we will see us all again soon.